Well, there is no doubt about it that Australians are worse off under this Prime Minister. Since the election, the cost of food's gone up 11.8%, housing up 11.7%, rents, well, they're up 16.1%, gas up a whopping 32.2%, health, well, that's up 10.4%, education is up 11.5%, financial and insurance services, they're up 18.2%. So as you can see, everything's going up and Australians want action. But they do feel that they've been let down by this Albanese government, particularly the good people of Western Australia. They really feel let down, particularly the people living in regional Western Australia. They really feel left down. Now, there's been a lot of chatter about when the election will be and whether or not we'll be coming back in February. Well, I'm sure the Prime Minister is receiving a lot of feedback from his colleagues about when he should go. But no matter what date he lands on, Australians will still be faced with the same question of whether they are better now than they were 3 years ago. And it's that question which must really frighten those opposite. Note whether they've stacked the MPI with the West Australians today. How much are they worried about the result in Western Australia? Yesterday in question time, I asked the Prime Minister about the terrible collapse of living standards in Australia. This is what my constituents and all Australians care about. And it was interesting to hear him bring up his recent trip in Geraldton, which is in my wonderful electorate of Durack. In that question, he failed to mention that he was only in Geraldton for 1 hour. 1 hour! I mean, honestly, it's a real shame that the Prime Minister didn't take the opportunity to hear from the Geraldton locals about the real issues for them. Didn't want to hear about, the housing crisis, the cost of living crisis. Didn't want to hear about any of that. No, it was just simply a photo opportunity. That is absolutely disgusting. And how disrespectful to the people of Geraldton. So Christmas is less than a month away, but yet again it's going to look a lot different again this year. This Christmas, Australians will be forced to cut back on their spending, whilst we've seen this government spend and spend and spend a little bit more. Unfortunately, this means less presents under the tree for our children to open on Christmas Day, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of those long, expensive family holidays during these January school holidays, which would otherwise have been those wonderful treasured memories. So as we approach the new year, families are needing to start, to reconsider their school options, and I'm hearing about this across the electorate, and also whether they continue to pay for their children's sport. These are real issues. After 2.5 years of this government, this is beginning, unfortunately, to look a lot like the new normal. In Australia, core inflation is rising and it is higher than any other major advanced economy. This demonstrates that inflation is homegrown and that all of the leaders of the advanced economies, out of all of them I should say, has delivered the worst results. The election will certainly be an uphill battle for the coalition. We recognise that. Not since 1931 has a Commonwealth government failed to win a second term. Yet despite history being on Labor's side, I think you'd struggle to find anyone in the government feeling absolutely certain about their chances or really positive about their future as a member of parliament. They know they're failing and they know that Australians know it. In 2022, Labor campaigned on making life easier and cheaper for Australians. This Prime Minister and his government have been in charge now for over 2.5 years, yet those opposite refuse to accept any responsibility for Australia's ongoing high inflation. It is simply shameful. They'd have you believe that high energy prices have nothing to do with their renewable-only strategy. They'd have you believe that inflation has nothing to do with their spending of $315 billion. They'd have you believe that business insolvencies hitting an all-time record high was nothing to do with their industrial relation changes, which only make it harder to do business in this country. I would just like to conclude by addressing some serious fires that are currently being battled around my electorate of Durack. One such fire is in the Shire of 2J, and I believe the people of West 2J are currently under the Leave Now bushfire warning. Another very serious fire is in the Shire of Dandaragan around Cervantes, approximately 48 kilometres long north to south, and is proving very difficult to combat. It's my understanding there's over 200 firefighters working tirelessly to get this under control. I would like to thank them all. I would like to extend my heartfelt heartfelt thoughts to everyone impacted by these fires, including the 2 firefighters who were injured yesterday during the Dandaragan fire. Be safe, everyone.